Burn Hands Perspective. Here we are. Listen, you introduce this me to this guy.
I get to introduce him?
Yeah,
okay.
you do it.
All right. So
yeah,
this
definitely.
is someone I know.
Yeah.
Our I was going to say our Mario Lopez
Well known.
like
I'm used
Chris
to that
Fettes,
one, but
who is representing the ice cream world for us today, but has a really cool story of Be Free and how it came to be, and working in spec ops community, being in the military, growing up with this. So we want to hear the whole journey of ice cream, because I think a lot of people think you just make it, it's, good, but you do gourmet, which is like next level freaking insane ice cream that I love so much. So we're excited that you're here today.
Thank you.
Cool story, really cool story. And not only is it a cool story, but it's going to be an ongoing story in his life, because you switched from something you were doing that had nothing to do with this to something that you have nothing to do with. Yeah. And it's just going to continuously get more nuts. Yeah. And you're going to probably at some point question, why in the fuck am I doing this?
I think,
if you haven't already.
Absolutely. I think it's scaling for me is scaling every step of the way, is going, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
No matter how far.
I don't think we do. So whenever you have passion in what you're doing, no matter what, that's the case. So it's being a chef and being a restaurant owner and whatever it is with your reframe and all your stuff, no matter what we do, we always ask that question, because it's never good enough.
Yeah.
So if it's never good enough, when the hell does it end? So you're always in this constant stress factor of getting better and growing, and it's just never gonna, dude. So after 14 years now of doing this, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that when you step into the food world, the culinary world, or the hospitality world, if you're passionate in what you're doing, it's never gonna get better.
Yeah.
There's no end. There's no tunnel. There's a light, but it's way over there.
Dude,
we brought you here for the positivity today. Totally for the positivity.
Well,
of
I
being
give
an
up. But
entrepreneur.
it's positive because we love it. I'm done. We love it, right? It's a sickness. It's a sickness.
I think you've seen scarier things. So
let's get to that. Let's see
go
where you're coming from, man.
Speaking of scary, real quick, I think it's cool though that the stories align, because I always think about the Hell's Angel thing, and I'm like, I think that's badass.
Cool, right? Yeah. One thing has nothing to do with the other, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of does, because it's my life, and your history is your life. And we include it, and we work these things into our life.
And everything applies, actually.
Everything
once
applies.
I start to see
how you deal with people, how you handle things, how your stress level goes.
Actually, that was one topic we want to talk about. Coming from the SEAL teams into business ownership, you have to manage people way different, too.
Oh, my God.
So
like, joking aside, I can't imagine being like a Hell's Angel organization. You're like, I'm sure you have structure,
of course,
teams.
Yeah.
We have accountability.
Like all the same things, like
same
similar
things
that
you
know,
have
just in a different way.
And it all falls down to that. It really falls down to accountability. We all have personal accountability.
Yeah.
And that's something you prove to each other to get there, right?
Yeah.
So in this world, though, there's no accountability other than someone wanting a fucking paycheck. So
that's the shock factor.
They don't give a shit. Some of them don't. Now, I'm lucky and fortunate enough to have great teams.
Yeah.
There's people that slip through the gate every time, but depending on where you are in the structure of the culinary world when it comes to this, I happen to hold myself at a higher end. So the people that are working with me as my team are looking for that same structure. So I provide that, they provide that. So I don't have as much clownery going on.
Yeah.
And I can snip it at the bud sooner. But sometimes they sneak through the cracks, man.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking at your level of what it is you have to do.
I'm in the clownery phase. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you have to deal. You're the passion. You're the artist. You're the passion, and there's not much room for anyone else to come in and recreate your ice cream, right? So it's something you have to do. So you have a lot. I'm sure you have a lot of kids scooping the ice cream or working the storefront or selling the merch, and that's where a lot of them are there for the paycheck. Yeah. So I think you have a lot more of them than you do career people.
Right.
So back to that, how it all begun.
So
that's the difference between dealing with your teams or my brothers in the club, and we don't really have to deal with them this way because they're already accountable. Yeah. They've already signed up for what they signed up for, and now we're accountable to each other. So the buffoonery is on a different level. It's a lot more. Yeah. It's when it is a problem, it's a problem, right?
Yeah, and I've learned in 10 months that it's like I had no standards starting out because I didn't know what I was getting into.
On the business
I
side.
didn't apply a lot of that structure and stuff I learned in the teams and the guys like him that he learned, in his chapter or whatever. And then, like, now I'm already fixing it, switching that sort of mindset to go, we need to have a high standard that people meet,
right.
And
not only a high standard, but you also have to have a high level of patience.
Oh, absolutely.
So much more patience.
Yeah.
See, in the teams or with me, you things get to an escalated level, you deal it out, you duke it out, and then you're back to living life and everything's good.
Oh my God.
Here, you can't do that.
You can't punch your employees in the face.
You can't punch your employee in the face anymore.
No, you'll spiral. You don't have time for, like, if you want the best solution, you have to have patience. Like,
the only cool ones you can punch in the face. The guys that are cool or that can take the punch and carry on, realizing that it was worth it. You know, that they're all right. So tell us how you started. How did ice cream get into all this whole structure, dude?
Ice cream started in childhood. I just grew up cooking. My grandmother is Japanese. She immigrated with my grandfather during Vietnam. He was stationed there for a while. That's where they met. And she's just like the culinary source for our family. Like all the recipes and the sushi and the wontons and like all the things.
So all Asian infusion basically at your house.
Asian fusion for sure. Yeah. When I make up a huge bowl of wontons, it's like the neighborhood hears about it.
Yeah.
They're over for dinner.
Going to your house.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah. I'll bring you some. So yeah, just like my younger son does this. If I'm in the kitchen, he's there watching, and you can tell that he's paying attention to everything. And my older son, helps out sometimes, but he's a little more of the analytical minded type, so he'd probably be reading a book or something,
Yeah.
And the little one doesn't read books.
We all have that, right?
Yeah.
Kids
So who started making the ice cream? Like taught you when you were younger?
So I didn't make that much ice cream, but I did have, a little machine when I was a kid. And it was like, my sister's got an easy bake oven, and I remember using that more than
like the Snoopy snow cone machine type of shit.
Yeah, like I can make like this much brownies in that thing, and then
make like 2 bites.
Ice cream, with those just a little Cuisine art, type machines. But fast forward, I really didn't start. It just ice cream. It really started with that's just my favorite thing, So. I think my mom told me one story where we were in Japan when I was little. We lived there for a couple of years because she remarried my father, my stepfather, who's I consider my father, and he was in the Air Force. So we lived there for like 4 years.
Oh, gotcha.
When I was younger, 7 until I was about almost 12. But we'd go get ice cream. And, there's just one story where my ice cream scoop was falling off, and I had this just cat-like reaction and just caught it in my hand.
There was no time to miss that.
Yeah, and then that's the moment where she was like, "Wow, ice cream's your favorite thing." I'm like, it is.
That's it. So that needs to be a T-shirt, bro. A skeleton hand with the ice cream falling.
Yeah.
You have only one choice.
Mean Virtue had
catch it or not.
Oh, there you go.
Catch it or fail.
Let it go.
Choice.
Me and Virtue had some comedy ideas for media where we're gonna go like, I'm just gonna put ice cream in my pocket and we're gonna be hanging out and
just eat it.
Out.
Yeah, I always have ice cream ready.
Just wet and
That
I love it.
Surprise me at all.
Yeah. So it's just my favorite thing in the world. If it was my last, day,
meal, that's your last meal.
That would be mine. Yeah.
Okay.
So before making your own, finding ice cream that you liked is the hard part. And I have a story of my own for you.
Yeah.
But so. What the hell were you eating before? Briars? What were you going?
Dude,
on?
Just like Baskin Robbins is everything that I remember from,
that was your
from
move?
childhood.
That was your move. Baskin Robbins, 24 flavors. 20,
once I could,
something like that.
What was it? 31 or
31? Or
31 flavors.
31?
Something Baskin
I
Robbins.
don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna fact check.
So we had
that.
Carvel
Yeah.
when I was young.
Oh yeah,
That was one of the main things. And then Dairy Queen, but Dairy Queen never hit. That was
I still go get Blizzards.
Yeah.
Dude, I
I
crave
love
Blizzards.
Blizzards.
Still
Yeah, I had one the
sometimes.
other day.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna
me
lie.
too. I'll roll through
Oreo cookie one.
once every couple of weeks.
Yep.
Reese's.
Oreo cookie one for real.
So fast forwarding, so we get through that stage. You went into the military.
Yeah.
Did you go out in the military like right out of school?
I was, messing around for a couple of years. I was taking a couple community college classes, but I really was just, getting in trouble and not doing much with my life. Really, I just didn't have any direction.
That's a good story. That's my favorite
I was
story.
just kind of a skateboard, kind of a loser kid, living in my friends' houses and, partying and going to raves and stuff back then and just like wasting time basically.
Yeah.
So, 9/11 happened and I kind of just woke up to go, man, I really could imagine myself doing something, towards this, it just like came together in my mind to go, hey, I have an opportunity to go just do something meaningful with my life. Right. And, I just had memories of talking about the SEAL teams with friends in high school and stuff like that. And, I don't think anybody in my family would have guessed that I was going to go in the military. And so
And you not only went, you went hard.
You
I went hard,
full
yeah.
military.
So I think that's
You
the
went-
yeah.
You went
Yeah.
military.
We weren't going
Yeah.
for the bottom, just like ice
Military.
cream. You're going for the top tier, top tier operators that you can get to. Yeah.
So for the rest of my life, that kind of set the tone to go. If I'm going to go do something, I want to go try to do,
Yeah.
just be the best that I can at it. So that's kind of drove me towards, the rest of my path is like, hey, if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go to the SEAL teams. Then I got to go to the best SEAL team, and and then after that, I got to go get a job, and then if I want to start a business, I got to try to make it the best version.
That's a great
of.
habit. That's a bad habit, but it's a great one.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't have to be perfect.
We can lose things along the way trying to do that, which I have as well.
Yeah.
But it's something that you just can't. It is what it is, and that's just the way it is. The things that are going to be there in the end are going to be there in the end. The ones that hold on.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy habit to have. Habit's the wrong word. What is it? Not a habit, a curse, right?
It's a blessing and a curse.
It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing for everyone around you and a curse for you.
Plow over other things in your life sometimes.
Yeah, you got to find a balance between high level and perfection, because perfection's not perfection. That'll ruin it.
I don't think there's.
You're never gonna get.
I don't know what perfect is.
Yeah,
I know that I know what not being perfect is.
Yeah,
but I don't know what perfect is, because every time I achieve something I'm trying to do and it seems like it was too easy or something like that, that wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
So what the hell's perfect? I keep going. It's a curse.
Yeah.
It's a drug. It's an addiction.
Maybe perfect is realizing that there is no perfect.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe that's true. So you became a SEAL. You went to Bud. You did all that. And in your mind, you're just thinking about, I just need an ice cream right now. So you're sitting there treading water. You're doing the thing with the log on the beach. You're doing the buddy stuff in Bud's. You're running around going crazy.
Yeah.
And all you're thinking about is what? Vanilla?
Yeah, it was like the comfort.
Chocolate ice cream? What are you thinking?
Yeah, mint chocolate chip. Most of the time.
Now, if my son Declan was here right now, he'd be fighting. He's a little guy. You probably beat him. However, he will fight for some milk and chocolate chip ice cream.
Yeah,
right to the
He'll
end.
throw hands for us.
Throw hands. Let him and the little brother fight over the last one in there.
Yeah.
I end up eating it.
Yeah, you can
Right in front of them
out
both.
the
Trying
way.
to teach
If he
them a
throws
lesson.
hands, I got to try to get him on the ground. Then.
Yeah, just
exactly.
take him down real quick. But this is one of my favorite stories, is that you were the guy in the teams who made ice cream. And you got to tell everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, how the hell you make ice cream in the middle of the desert is hysterical, but you got to share that story.
Yeah, it was. I only did that a couple times on very specific deployments, because honestly, it was like the way that part of the reason why I joined at all, and sort of my path through everything, and then things that I had to sort of figure out afterwards in myself, all kind of revolved around validation, and like just. And everybody needs it, but we're in a world right now in 2025 where like so many people just require constant validation because we're just insecure in general.
Well, there's so many avenues to get validation now that it's ingrained us that we need to achieve it.
Yeah, it's like
Whether
entitlement.
social media, likes, comments, DMs, all that stuff. These are things. This is the validation you're speaking of.
Yeah.
And I think that now being,
I'm self-validating, so sorry.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, go on. Sorry, I'm into what you're saying.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I try to catch myself. I'm trying to get better at that. You know what I mean? Is like
Not requiring it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard on social
Well, I
media
think
now
that
that you become more of a public figure and you're on larger podcasts and you're doing all these things. That kind of plays in. But when you're going back to the teams, your validation is,
It's
kind of
you need it
because you guys are working together. You're constantly getting those
It is
hits.
literally everything it's about is your reputation there.
Yeah.
You not only survive but thrive. You just constantly need validation from everybody, but even to have awareness to know where you stand in the team, right? So after that's all done, it's like pretty quickly I learned if you don't learn how to self-validate, you're gonna struggle. It's really hard. Like you got to let go of that need and requirement for validation even more than just the average person is like. And then you go into business and you're like, wow, I learned really fast, that I have to be self-validating, because just like you must know with so much experience that you don't have time to wait for validation from everybody to make decisions and to do things, and they're never. They don't want to give you credit.
You're right. In saying that, I used to do that and catch myself all the time, fucking up, wasting time. Because if you're waiting to get validated sometimes by people who aren't worthy of the validation.
Yeah, and
they know less, or they don't understand what you're doing, and they're gonna give you an opinion based on what they would have done, but they'll never fucking do in a day in their life because they don't have the gumption to get out of bed early enough to do it.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're right. I want to know how you validate this. Validate, like she said at the beginning, making ice cream in the desert.
Yeah.
Underway. I couldn't even imagine cooking eggs like that, man. Of course I have, but it's tell me about this. This is exciting shit because I can just imagine everyone sitting around like,
what the fuck is Chris
what's
doing?
he doing over there, man?
Yeah.
Oh, he's making an ice cream.
Got his
oh,
little,
shit.
was it
And
like
then
a
we have
little
an ice cream
machine?
social? Everyone's sitting around like, yay.
Yeah, only certain guys knew because, like I said, because of that validation thing, I actually was like kind of shy about my creative side of things, and it's like you
got to be tough, man.
You don't want someone saying,
you
you're
get
a
to know
pussy because you're
guys.
over there making ice cream. Like you're
exactly.
you don't want that's kind of
if you're the
you
new
don't
guy,
want to be teased because of something you're doing.
Same thing
you
with
don't
the Hells
want that.
Angels. I mean, a lot of people. It's hard for Hells Angels and myself to say like, hey, that's a badass Hell's Angel. But looking at him, he's cooking he's sous vide an octopus. I will beat your ass and sit down at the table and eat dinner with you after.
Yeah.
Okay? You'll eat
That's
what
where
I
I'm at
cook
now.
you, and you're gonna like it. So who cares, right? It doesn't. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
The passion I have for my art and you have for your art has nothing.
Yeah.
Don't be confused what it has to do with us being men on other things.
Oh, dude,
on other
now
levels.
it's like I know what it means and what it is, and I have no problem with.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm at a bar with a bunch of Hell's Angels and I'm like, and I get a Shirley Temple, and like, the fuck are you drinking, you little pussy? And I'm like, well, I normally just drink whatever I want to drink.
Yeah, that's what I drink.
know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'll get my
And I'll buy them a whiskey after
I'll
that.
go a step further. I'll get my ass beat and still eat dinner with you. and
Yeah.
cook.
If
Either
I
way, it's
lose-
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, you're going back to the ice
That's
cream or
true
the
about
food.
fighting. You know, I don't mean to jump around, but you look at the highest level, most badass, motherfuckers in the world, like like UFC fighters. What are they doing after the fight's over? No matter who wins, somebody gets knocked out.
Yeah.
The guy who knocked him out and the guy that got knocked out.
They're
get
eating
up,
ice cream.
They're hugging. They're eating ice cream. They're hugging.
Right.
They're crying. They're
right.
releasing all of that energy.
They're normal
that
men
led
at
up
the
to
end of the
that, and then they're there for each other. In a way where just before that they were trying to kill
Exactly.
murder each other.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So-
So, back to we got to get to making this stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
it
We're
fascinates
dodging
me.
We're dodging the subject
the
here.
making
He
the
doesn't
ice
want to
cream
tell
in
us
the
how to
desert
make ice
question.
cream in a desert.
I know.
I can see what's going on here.
So
You're
I've heard
locking
this
it.
story like
He's locking
secondhand.
it
I've
in.
never heard
Yeah.
it from you, so I don't know how
Yeah.
much of it is like where they're making you just seem like it was this huge production.
Make up
or-
a
No,
Story.
it wasn't a big deal actually. It was pretty quiet. It was like
Okay.
it was kind of a secret, and only a couple
Ice cream
guys.
machine.
Well,
how
now
big?
we all
How
know
big's the
about
ice
it.
cream?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I upgraded. When I got to SEAL Team 10, 2006 ish, I upgraded to this machine that was like a 2-quart, Italian machine called a Lello Musso, I think, on Amazon. If you look it up,
Okay.
5800 model. It makes 2 quarts.
Okay, cool.
Right, and it serves
I'm writing this down because I want to make some.
Yeah, it serves from the top. I have one. I can give you that one.
Okay, you
I'll
show me
gift
how
it
to
to
use
you.
it.
Yeah,
Awesome. So that's
Presents.
perfect. I'm getting gifted by the master.
yeah.
Yes.
And it means something because
yes,
it
that's
was
right.
making
It means
ice cream
something.
with camel's milk in Iraq.
I love
So
it.
that's
go on,
okay.
go
So
on,
we're
go on.
revealing
stay on
now.
it.
Yeah,
Camel's
so-
milk. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, from Mark, we have those big boxes. We pack all our gear, all of our stuff.
So like a cruise box,
The cruise box. Normally, each guy
metal
has
fold up cruise box. Is that what it is?
They're like Pelican cases.
Yeah,
big
okay,
plastic,
gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
like what these guys are carrying
Sure,
their
sure.
camera stuff in.
Right.
And most guys have at least one of those also with their booze. It's their booze box, or video games, like whatever. But instead of the booze box, because I'm pretty allergic to alcohol, anyways. I kind of forced myself to drink.
You have the
that.
I'm
Asian,
allergic to
you
it
have the
too.
Asian,
Yeah.
the
Every time I
Asian
get
gene.
drunk, it never works out.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but you have the Asian
I
gene.
really do,
So he has
yeah.
to actually take medicine before he drinks so
Oh,
that he
wow.
doesn't like blow up and
But
get
I was a drinker, so I just still did it
Yeah.
to sort of fit into the culture, and then
Right.
it just became a normal thing. But so I just packed that machine into. I got a picture of it somewhere. Packed that machine into a cruise box, and then after some missions, we come back. I'd pull it out and just whip up 2 quarts of ice cream because that's kind of why it was a secret too. Is it wasn't enough for everybody.
Gotcha.
So it
I
just
could
runs
serve,
off
like-
electricity. You dump
Yeah.
your milk, your product,
had
all
count-
your sweet,
use-
all your ingredients inside.
I was just using ice cream formulas that I found online. Back then I didn't have my
Asking Jeeves.
I didn't know how to formulate it myself.
That was
I just
before
kinda-
Google, right?
Yeah,
So you had
was
like
like right
Ask
in the
Jeeves
beginning, yeah.
how to make
Yeah.
ice
That
cream.
was-
You had to do some research and get some books. There's a couple of old school ice cream books that were really good for that. But for the most part, I could just walk across to the little dinky little chow hall where they contracted local Iraqis to work in. We come back from a mission. Before we even shower up, or everybody would get in there with their dusty gear, right? Get their eggs scrambled up, and eat breakfast, and then roll out and go to bed for the next night. So I'll just stay up a little bit longer and whip up some ice cream, and if there's a couple of guys left that were still up, we eat the ice cream.
How long it take to churn and make?
Like 15 minutes for a
That's
batch.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
quick for
Well,
that.
we're making ice cream now.
You can
Yeah.
make it
15, 20
45.
minutes. If you chill the mix first, and I was just making vanilla was pretty easy. I had a bunch of extracts, so that's always easy. But to flavor it up, I was just using like whatever was available. I was, smashing up, bananas that they shipped over to that chow hall. But it was pretty easy to get figs, so there was a couple terps. There's just one terp named Johnny Walker. He's actually pretty known out there because he obviously likes drinking Johnny Walker. Probably the most just badass. I mean, he's probably got more combat experience than any SEAL I've ever known. He just was like through the duration of that war of all of Iraq, he was working for every SEAL, all the SEAL teams that were out there. So he had no fear of like the environment, and it was easy to go, hey Johnny, I could really use some figs, but I can't go off base and to bad guy land, you know, from here unless we're on a mission, and I can't go to the market when I'm on a mission, you know. So he a couple of times grabbed figs and, you know, like whatever apples or whatever that they had out there, and I was making.
So he was like Red on Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, he was bad.
I can get you something.
Yeah.
I heard you're a man that can acquire things.
Yeah, and I'm plugging this on purpose because I love him.
He's
my
out
friend.
there
Yeah,
getting
got it.
fruit.
He wrote a book. He's out in San Diego.
Okay.
So he's now
Johnny Walker, this is for you.
Yeah,
I know.
him and his family
Absolutely.
are now here. So like they've immigrated over.
Oh, very cool.
afterwards.
Awesome.
So he was grew up in Mosul, and you know the bad guys killed his brother, and he became a translator for the good guys, and it's a crazy cool story. But,
In a story you can read in his book. So
yeah.
so check out Johnny Walker's book.
You know,
Plug.
And I don't know if he remembers the ice cream stuff because he knows he's.
I'm sure he does.
Hundreds of
How
missions.
do you not remember having ice cream
yeah,
in Iraq?
in the
'Cause
middle
it's
of
like,
the-
you
in
know,
the middle of it all.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
just
This is
something
world
not,
renowned.
not predictable.
And we were drinking heavy between those missions too. So you know there were some nights where.
So ice cream
You might not
social.
remember the
Yeah.
ice.
Ice cream social. Get a little drunk.
Yeah.
Have a little. You know,
Little
okay,
ice
good.
cream. Yep.
Good.
And it kind of just went from there, and it was just always in my mind. You know, but when I went to Dev Group, I didn't pull it out much because it just the reputational validation thing became even more intense. Where it was like, I got to fit in here. If you don't, you know, that's one of the criteria for having a good career there is fitting in. And like, if you don't, you could be out just for that reason. Even
voted off the
if you
island.
perform
Don't
good.
play that like you're
Like,
yeah,
even if
you're
you're
not
good.
copacetic with everybody that's there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's all these different factors, but that's for sure one of them. So
No matter what
I do
faction of life you're in, validation or being part of the crew is not ever going to go away. It doesn't matter what. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
just the way
so.
it is. So
Yeah.
I think that's in every life, no matter what you do. I think that's human race. I think that's just the way it is.
Human nature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. It is.
Yeah, so absolutely. So fast forward to after when I just went through the struggle of transitioning and you know, sort of reinventing myself and trying to transform, you know, myself to let go of all the shit and the stuff that I just didn't need to be anymore and be who I want to be. That's part of the thing about entrepreneurship that I'm learning real fast is the doors don't open and things don't really start to happen in the profound way that they're happening to me right now until I really got right with God and really like went through a very specific decision to make a change and transform myself into the person that's worthy of walking through those doors. And so like once you feel that and you actually commit the time, like it's been years to a process of years. And then once entrepreneurship, you know, is there, it's like, all right, you know, I'm worthy of this. And once you really focus and just really go for it and just really focus, you know, without all the bullshit and all those other distractions, it's like my personal life improves. And then my business is just like, we're now on like a rocket ship of growth with this distribution thing. That
Right.
just
So before you get to that, let's go in the middle. So you got home. You got home, you were digging right into this ice cream. People started liking it. I've tasted your ice cream, I think 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was
For the first time, it was like, oh shit, this is really good. One of my bartenders actually stopped and got it somewhere and brought it in, and we were all sitting around. It was crazy cool flavors.
Yeah.
And I used to work at a ice cream place when I was a kid, probably 16 years old.
That's
I worked at a place making ice cream. So it was it was up in Maine, and it was in New England. So New England's a huge ice cream area.
Yeah.
You either have shit ice cream, but most of it is really taken seriously. Like the small towns all have their Dairy Joy or their, you know what I mean? And they're all local homemade ice cream places.
Yeah.
And this
all
one
their
place I
little
worked at
different
was called the
styles.
Big Dipper, right?
Yeah.
And they had all kinds of flavors. And it was one big machine, and we would just dump ingredients in it. And they would dump out into like a Cambro bucket, a round bucket.
Yep.
And that's how it would be. And after that, we'd put it down in the fridge, down in the freezer. And
The
you
old
scoop, like,
school,
the old
yeah.
school. And those is what we would serve out of. And there would be rows of them, you know?
Yeah.
And it'd be all kinds of great flavors like bubble gum and you know,
Yeah.
grape nut.
Yeah.
Grape nut cereal. We'd have grape nut,
Yeah.
and it was good. This was back in the freaking early 90s, late 80s, right?
Yeah.
The mint chips, the almond joy, all that stuff, coconut rum, all these crazy good flavors.
Yeah.
And it was so creamy and it was so smooth. And I still haven't found ice cream like that yet until I had yours.
Oh, thanks.
And once I had yours, because you have
It is a more northern style. Yeah.
it's a more northern, rich, creamy, lactic. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
now we can talk nerd culinary stuff. But
yeah.
so
There's
what?
science to it for sure.
When you were in the desert, I'm imagining your ice cream was good because it was there and there was nothing like it, so it was good. However, I'm sure, tell me if I'm wrong, I could be 100%, and maybe I am. I'm imagining though, just with my knowledge and stuff like that, with the climate and everything else, it was probably coming out more crystally, a lot more frozen, a lot more icy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your milk was frozen, but it was more crystallized and kind of crunchy a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't have a good, I hadn't learned how to do formulas myself to get
Right.
to get ice cream the way I want.
And that's where I'm going. So you just hit the word. So formulating from that chunk to non-junk, right?
Yeah.
You had to go through stuff in order to get on a national level or start producing the way you are, or to start getting incorporated the way you are. You have to really grasp people's mouths, taste buds, interest, and it all comes from quality, right?
Yeah.
So anyone can make ice cream. You're going to give me this machine, right? I'm holding you to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some stuff in that machine, and it's not going to come out the way you did it. I don't care what it is. It's like me trying to do my recipes.
Yeah.
You created it. You formulated it in time. And going back, you said something very important to me that the viewers should listen to here. It's very important, especially for the younger generation. The reason why yours is good is because you formulated it on your own. You had to ask Jeeves, and that was the only assistance you had. Now you can go online and just say, Google, how do I make ice cream? It'll tell you exactly how to make ice cream, and then you make the ice cream.
Right.
And it's going to come out 9 times out of 10, okay, decent, good. But no one's going to have to go any better than that, because they're never going to have to go better than that.
Yeah.
Because they can just ask the next question. How do I make this ice cream better? And it might just come out better. You learned how to do it from the beginning, and now you can write the script on the fucking computer. Right?
Yeah.
So people are missing that whole fucking thing. Listen to this, folks. Everyone out there, every camera. When you start in the culinary world, whether you're making ice cream, pasta sauce, pizza dough, it doesn't matter. If you're not starting from the fucking beginning, you're going to always be chasing everyone else. You have to formulate your own system by starting at the goddamn bottom.
Yeah, or you're going to have to go back and correct or learn something that you just don't.
Right. Right. If you're not willing to do that, you're never going to move forward in the culinary world. And you experience that because you learned, you had a passion for this before it became a job.
I think when you become an entrepreneur, I'm glad I go back and go, man, I'm grateful that I don't know why I did this. Why did I go spend $4,000 to go to ice cream formulating school, which they also do a little bit of the business side of stuff too, and the dairies.
There's an ice cream school.
Yeah, there's an ice cream school. That's how I learned how to do it.
But there is, like a chef school, there is points that need to be made by going.
Oh, absolutely.
It only helps you get the basis for what you kind of didn't know and you should know, but it doesn't help you grow out into who you are. It only gives you the basics. Yeah. And it's necessary.
Yeah.
So it's essential to go because you're going to learn something.
I think so, because one thing that the first accounting firm that this was a thing I learned too, is it was like trash, like they did my bookkeeping, but I learned it, man, I really needed to get a good controller eventually, right? Which now I have an amazing one, but then it was like $200 a month. They do your bookkeeping. I was doing a better job than they were at my bookkeeping. But when they sold me on that sort of little contract, the guy in the firm that came in to do the sale was like, one of the things he said has now helped me, where he was like, you're going to be good with the ice cream thing. You got to, we'll do your accounting or whatever, but it's really hard to fuck up ice cream, right? And I was like, yeah.
How hard is it? What the hell is he talking about?
We're just saying, like, it's an easy thing. It is. You can go make ice cream easily, just like you said, but you can go make a sandwich too.
Yeah, right.
But you go buy a sandwich, or you can go make pasta, but you go to Luce and it's bomb ass pasta. There's more to the higher level stuff. And then, intuitionally, I go back and thank myself from 8 years ago, because it was so stressful getting out, getting your new job, and then having to tell my wife, like, hey, I'm gonna before like I start this new job, I'm gonna go spend this money to go do this. And she's like, why? Why do you have to do?
That's a fun.
Because in the future, I don't know how to
stud. To
well, the best part is, and I know his wife very well. So to sit there and say, "Hey, babe, I just got out of the teams. I'm gonna go spend all this money on ice cream,"
like,
and
that could be a red flag for them to be like, "Oh God, what is he gonna?"
She did
That's a red
laugh.
flag,
I
yeah.
mean, nobody in the beginning, I think, was like, they were like, "Oh, cute, he's gonna make ice cream. Like he loves it. It's great." And then
you got to get a real job.
But the support was real
crazy.
though. The support in the marriage was
She did
real. She
support
ended
you.
up jumping in way more than you expected.
She's
and now she's part of the team, if
oh
not
my God,
most of the team.
absolutely.
Depending. So
she runs it with me,
right?
for sure.
And that's great. That the faith in it worked both ways, and it worked out perfect for you.
She had faith that I couldn't even see for so many years, and then we went through the struggle of starting up, and I really learned when we were building the cafe out that she had faith the whole time. And then once that came together, I was like, oh my God. the doors just open up for growth
All of
with the strengths and the thing that she does and the way that I do, the creativity and vision stuff. It's like, it's amazing. But at first it's so hard because, nobody can see that, like I see this thing just like when I went to the ice cream school. I'm like, I don't know why I can't explain, why I need to pay this $4,000 right now when I need to put food on the table first. But I just know that in the future I need this. And it's just an intuitional thing. And there's been so many moments of intuition that I did something that are now paying off later. It costed me so much up front.
Right.
It didn't seem to make sense and looked crazy to people.
And now the $4,000, you're looking at it like that was the best $4,000 I could have probably used.
Dude, now my wife, yeah, absolutely. And my wife loves to help me with the merch stuff because she's stylish. She's kind of a trendsetter.
It gives her fun, yeah.
But I did the designs ahead where, before we even opened the cafe, and I was, I didn't even make $1 in 3 years. I actually the first year of starting, I was negative 40 grand for my family.
Wow.
While she was supporting the family. But my point is that, like, while I was doing that, some of that cash I was spending was on designs because I'm have a creative mind. And now it's paying off because every time she wants to do a merch drop, I have a library of designs to choose from.
Yeah.
And they're all really good, awesome designs, and I don't have to stress out about that.
Sure, and that's important. Image is just as important as your product, if not more. So what's the saying? A pound of image is worth a ounce of performance.
Yeah, so true.
So it is true. So you have to back your product up. You can't have a fake image. You know what I mean? Your image has to be better than your product, but your product has to be better than everyone else's. So it's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So your ice cream shop, where is it located right now? We have some ice cream. So
yeah, we actually are going to try it. And actually, I want to back because I think what you hit on is that for that first year you lost money.
Yeah.
And I don't think you just opened the cafe, so that's new within this last year. But you had this business for several years prior. And you have to tell, the lengths you went to deliver ice cream to people locally, like you're local in Virginia Beach. And literally had coolers and had people pulling up to his house to pick up their ice cream.
It's the only way.
And you worked your ass off.
When I started Luce the first time, it was the same type of thing.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
All right.
I said it too. I was like, we're going to try some ice cream. Like, I'm not the most excited fucker in this room right now.
He's like,
I'm just trying to be cool.
We're eating ice cream at this early part of the morning. It's amazing. All right. You
keep
talking.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited about this, bro. We got ice cream galore. We're going to talk and eat. So do you have now, I know that you're just opening up this shop in a sense. You're kind of new to it.
Yeah, we're like only 10 months in.
10 months in. So you're dealing now with the culinary world as a business, and it's a son of a bitch, man. But it's amazing and it's rewarding and I love it. I know I talk down on it a lot, but I'm only talking down for those who don't understand what we go through.
They don't know what it takes, yeah.
But I absolutely love it. I do. There's parts of it I hate, but like in any job, you're going to hate something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
getting dust down the barrel of a weapon is just as annoying as a bad employee. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to clean. You have to fix it. You have to go through it. These are all things that happen.
Yeah.
So you're going to hire somebody that's going to be a shithead in the end. You're going to hire someone that takes advantage of you. You're going to hire someone who thinks they're the reason why you are here and you weren't making desert freaking ice cream.
That is the story.
That is the story. This year. What is that, Chris? What is that thing?
So
that is some of my. So we have branded packaging like that.
Branded packaging.
But we ran out, and we've got some more, and these are like the precursors to. These are the
pina colada. This is gonna be fun.
That's
pina colada.
That got my attention really quick.
There's it's the precursor to the vibe of our packaging when we get in the stores towards the end of this year and into next year.
What's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite? I hate that question, but what's that question?
I know.
It's hard because I like the innovative flavors. We've come up with a couple really cool ones that I made once, like mascarpone cheese based ice cream with fig jam that I really love. I did like the marzipan rainbow, like Italian cookies flavor.
Yeah.
Like a marzipan flavor with those cookies in there. And so those are a couple of my favorite, like innovative kind of flavors. Peanut butter pork belly was a really good one.
I love anything peanut butter chocolate, peanut butter chocolate, banana.
I wish
chocolate
I brought
and banana, all that shit, man.
Okay, so there is So
I had peanut butter and banana. I just didn't bring it.
Millie mint chocolate chip.
That's probably.
I know you want that.
I'm starting this off. I'm tired.
That's my favorite because I think mint chocolate chip is probably my favorite classic.
Bullshit.
Yeah, classic flavor.
Oh wow! So what is this now? This is
Millie is short for Milliken. So this is a flavor named after one of my greatest teammates that was killed in combat.
Oh, that's amazing. So you're naming the stuff after so there's a history to
some of the names.
Yeah.
The SEAL teams and your heritage and everything's going right into this. So.
Yeah, I've named 2 flavors like that after teammates that have fallen, just
Yeah.
to because
That's some bullshit.
in my mind.
This is
Stupid
bullshit.
good. Like,
This
yeah.
one's a spearmint and peppermint mix, so it's not just mint like normal.
I'm going for
like
the-
artificial mint flavor. It's like real extra.
Well, it's not, and that's
Dude,
the
this
funny
is
part.
not.
It's not
This isn't
green.
even funny, bro.
We used
not
to. I
green,
used to
it's
steep the
real.
leaves,
It's
but now I
real.
have to make so
Come
much.
on,
I
man.
can't steep.
Oh, really?
3 tons of mint leaves.
This ain't even
Okay.
fair.
So basically, and you built the brand obviously based on your combat history. So
You're
the
not
whole
just
thing
saying
about
it like
Be
that because
Free
I'm on the
is-
show. Right?
Huh? is
He likes it. That's
I'm gonna tell you something.
I have Point
Dude,
Man
one thing I
pistachio.
don't do about
so
food
That
I'm
is
going
another
for
one
that.
of my favorites because I know
love
how hard I
pistachio.
worked on that one, just
Yeah.
trying to gain all of the things I thought were missing out of pistachio flavors anywhere that I've ever tried.
Oh my god!
So that's also one of my favorite. These are my 2 most favorite
Dude.
classic flavor types.
This is ridiculous. I haven't
Mint
had the
Oreo,
pistachio.
dark chocolate chips, spearmint, peppermint, cream.
Yeah,
Unreal. So when I talk about this food, and it's not because you're on the show, because if it wasn't that good, I wouldn't tell people it sucked. I would just be like, yeah, it's pretty good.
all
And
right.
carry on.
yeah.
my
You
God.
seem like a truthful, honest.
But what
kinda
I'm going
guy.
to tell you is this: people are going to eat this and think of my show and think of me as a chef. So my taste buds matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sell it short. This is amazing.
To me, just so you
We're all
guys
family.
know
We
this,
just
like,
eat off the same
dude,
spoons.
like part of the dream is literally the moments I get
Stupid.
to sample my ice cream and gain confidence from legit
The
people like a
reaction,
chef
yeah.
that has 2 of the most
And he
badass
knows
Italian
how-
restaurants in the whole, like the 2 best Italian restaurants in the area.
It's really good. The
Pistachio.
texture's amazing.
There's
Another
The
another
homie-
conversation gets really hard to understand.
First thing I look for in
shoving
ice
food in our
cream.
mouth.
First thing I look for in ice cream
Which one are you eating?
I'm gonna try this one too.
is
It's my
moisture,
favorite. Yeah,
because
Oh, shoot.
moisture freezes,
Whoops.
moisture
You got it on
crystallizes.
your nice chair, your
That's
velvet
all right.
chair.
Oh, you ain't the first
We'll
one.
clean that.
So the moisture in ice cream will crystallize and it will create a texture in the ice cream that's not all that pleasant.
Yeah,
And that's part of the formula, right?
yeah, like
So-
the mouthfeel, the consistency.
That's right. So the cream, and this is very creamy with no ice in all. So that means to me that your fats and your creams weren't overbeat and all that shit.
like emulsified.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
awesome.
This is good. This is the pinup espresso.
yeah, thank
fudge
you. Because like
brownie.
those little details, those are the things
Mm-hmm.
that matter that subconsciously people don't really think of when they try an ice cream. Like, man, it's good, and that you learn in that school is we did so much tastings and like they set out like a dozen.
Heaven.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
heaven.
good
They and it was stressful too because we had to pass tests and everything. But they just lay out a dozen different brands of vanilla, and you'd have to taste them and grade them.
Almost like a sommelier, like you're doing, like
Yeah,
you
like
know, if you're a
sommelier.
sommelier, you're doing it for ice cream.
So this is
Exactly,
pistachio
yeah.
butter in here.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
really from ground pistachios for the flavoring. So it's an expensive flavor, but it's worth it because it's
Yeah, it's very, but it's got a very good
One of
flavor
my
to
favorites
it.
too.
yeah. That
The
one,
sea salt, the salt.
yeah, that one's been a big hit. Like Norwegian sea
This has
salt.
the where you have the caramel in it.
And
like
we
flavor.
I came up with just a pretty simple brown sugar praline recipe for some of the nuts that we put in the ice creams.
Going hard
Yeah.
here.
I know. We're just. This is literally turned
This
into
is
a food
brownie
tasting.
espresso. You had this one already, Chris.
We lost the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, he can keep talking.
You
This
keep
is it.
talking.
This is the
We're gonna
first
keep
time I
eating.
Yeah, I'll
want to
keep
just have
talking while
someone
you
else
guys
talk.
eat.
Oh
The
my
Millie mint
I love
flavors.
this one.
That's the meaning wise. The Millie mint flavor is
Yeah,
one of my
yeah,
favorites because
yeah,
the dream would be that when we put this flavor in stores, which is one of the 7 we're going to start out with.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
I will come up with a certain number of proceeds, if not 100% of it. I don't know
That's fucking
what
good.
would make sense as we go into
You
it
guys got to try this
to
shit,
just
man.
give
Stick around.
directly back to
You're
it.
drooling.
Oh,
Well,
really?
and the milk.
Crew
and
needs to eat.
That'd be amazing.
and like
Can't melt.
the payback part of it is what's starting to happen for me, where it's like, man, now, 2-3 years of not paying us anything or putting anything on the table. I agreed to my wife when I started this whole venture.
yeah.
Oh, this is it. Right? This looks like chocolate mousse, bro.
It's got
For
like
real.
that mousse texture. It's really
It's
creamy.
absolutely beautiful. Look, it's like
Yeah.
chocolate mousse. It's like a custard.
That
more
one's the
so.
Dutch processed cocoa powder, so I just love that for
That's what
chocolate
she said.
flavors.
That's fucking good, man.
But it is cool because you'll be able to once you go through this expansion. So now that the shop has been open,
Yeah.
you formulated the flavors. I think going into that distribution phase, you've done
Learning
this.
so
I mean,
much stuff. Yeah.
it is pretty quick. I mean, considering how long you've been in business, like
Oh.
some of these things don't happen for people till like 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line.
Oh,
so you're
yeah.
having to learn so much about the business side so fast about
'Cause I have to
distribution
get
of food products.
And making sure my cafe is stable and still the standards are high.
Yeah,
and it's
as a brick
run
and
well
mortar.
while I'm traveling, doing all this stuff, and we are like in a sprint for this. Like, I think it's going to feel like that the whole way because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
To do a distribution model like that. and it's just constant business planning with the group that we're working with to bring us to market.
Okay, so you are working with a group that's helping
Yeah.
you with that. He is living his best life right now,
Yeah.
just so we're all aware.
Yeah.
He can give two shits about what is going to happen for the rest of this episode.
let me try
He's
that
just eating ice cream. Which one are you eating? I don't know.
Sorbet.
Huh? Oh, that's the pina colada.
You know what's funny? You said that. I was just about to say it tastes more like a sorbet, and you just
sorbet.
said it's a sorbet.
It's-
So my fucking flavors are right. My mouth still works. I still know what I'm
Congratulations.
talking about.
Yeah. He knew.
Oh.
And I figured out a way to do a little bit of a creamier sorbet using
It's like
a
vacation.
plant-based fiber called so it's still vegan called inulin. Yeah. It's
so this is
like
vegan,
chicory root fiber.
This sorbet
Yeah.
that you're making. So you do have other stuff in the shop that's non-dairy.
Yeah, we just keep like 4 or 5 flavors rotating with non-dairy. But a sorbet doesn't have to be icy. It can still be like a little creamy, like ice cream.
This is creamy. This reminds me, it's like vacation in your mouth.
It tastes like a suntan.
Yeah.
It's like a Hawaiian tropic fine reef girl ass.
He's going
He's
back
gonna be
to
walking right on set right now with that big reef ass. Remember reef?
Yeah.
Remember the surf?
where, with the tan line.
there was always
you
a
got the
picture
big
of
tan
the-
line.
Yes, that was their thing. Was the nice ass. We need a. Can we get a reef girl ass, please?
Okay, so
on set.
we've got an idea for a shoot for that now.
Yeah, cool.
Call that. Can we call that reef girl ass?
We should just
Reef
make
cream.
him the model. He could be the model for the
reef
reef
girl
ass.
ass cream.
No, that's not
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 it?
appropriate at all. No,
Come on,
that's
man.
not it. No,
Oh,
ass cream does not sound
I'm doing it.
anything good with ice cream.
I'm doing it.
It's just two totally different things.
Yeah.
Now you
Now,
could
which one is
drip
this?
Tony's
you could-
like, I'm in the mood for some
if
ass
we get
cream.
it, we
Which
go
one is
full
this?
throttle. You could like slow
That
drip
one
the
is-
sorbet.
That's tea and
on-
cookies.
Tea and cookies.
Yeah,
Okay,
so like
so
Earl
what's
Grey
tea and
tea.
cookies? What is
Hello.
that?
Like
Hello,
an Earl
Governor.
Grey type of tea and
Oh, okay.
and like little Biscoff cookies.
Oh, so actual
Tea
okay.
and cookies.
Yeah, the UK people would love that one.
Yeah, that's the UK.
Dude.
I got some
Little
UK
Biscoff,
Okay, so here's a good
Special
question.
Forces buddies that love that flavor. Come
Did you ever have a
Not my
flavor
favorite,
that
but it's
totally
delicious. Not my
listen,
favorite.
Stop
That's
talking
it.
about the ice cream. 2
can't.
seconds. Did you ever had a flavor that totally flopped?
Oh, absolutely. You
what
learn
was
those
the worst,
too.
What was the worst
Yeah.
combination you ever did?
Dude, that's like probably a stand-up comedian in some of their,
Yeah,
I think some of the
jokes.
best ones have probably been booed off stage a few times and had to struggle through that, I just know it. So, let's see.
Worst ones.
I think I made a soy sauce one time. It's
Yeah,
like,
that'd fail.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
tough.
that
That'd be
was
tough to
gross.
hit that. It'd be tough to hit that one.
We did a matcha mochi chocolate chip that I loved, but a lot of people didn't like that one. And I think it was just the area, like maybe in like somewhere like New York or somewhere,
I think a
That's a
soy
bit- that's a
sauce.
vibe.
A soy sauce could work if maybe you did the right mixture with a little bit of ginger
Yes.
and sweeten it up with some melon and ginger,
make it
and
right.
something like that.
Yeah, but not so the way I was doing ice cream before the cafe was every week I was just coming up with a flavor of the week, like blasting it on social media, trying to hype it up. Every drop I did for 2 years was noon Saturday drop. So like it would the sale would open, they'd get on the Instagram or whatever, make their order and schedule a pickup for the next
Week. And you only did like a certain number of container, like a couple hundred
Yeah.
of them, and as soon as
Yeah.
they sold out, they were gone. So he
Exactly.
actually created a
And then-
scarcity mindset around the ice cream. So when
Yeah.
he knew he'd sell
If
out.
you
every
missed it,
week.
I'm not making that
Yeah.
flavor again.
Anything unobtainable is better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's great. So
Yeah. And then it got
But-
cool because the second year of that, some people were like, "Can you bring that one flavor back?" And then I'd have a flavor
get
for that week
feedback.
the next year.
these are amazing, dude. Really, honestly.
thank
and,
you.
and
Thank
I'm joking
you.
a lot, but because it's fun it's fun. It brings the fun out of it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It makes you feel like a
dude, we're
kid.
gonna-
I mean, this
part
is
of my
someplace-
dream. We're doing a tasting at the Luce restaurant right
Exactly,
now
man.
on a show.
Right.
Ice cream tasting on the podcast. This is the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on any podcast.
But so what's next now? The next steps, where do you see everything
Next
going?
steps are I rapidly, once this deal started to happen, it just went on hyperdrive, and I was like, man, I anticipated being in my cafe, 12, 16, 20-hour days like it was when we first opened for a few months, for like a couple years. And then going, hey, maybe, after year 2, we'll start to think about scaling into another location or a franchise or something if it works out, And then this happened, and it was like, oh my God, I got a lot of stuff to do to make sure this place runs really well to the standard that I want when I'm not here, because I got to now be everywhere for the distribution thing. I got to be at the factory in Pennsylvania, the brokerage group in Charlotte, my team, my best friend and business partners in Chicago, and just the stores, Publix, and things that are going to start to happen.
That's where you're going to be in a better position. I just started doing my sauces, jarred my sauces and stuff like that. They have not yet hit the market. They're still being jarred and produced. But I took the same time as you did. My sauces are going to be more of a compliment to the Italian heritage in a jar. It's not just a jarred sauce. It's going to be an amazing meal, right? So I took a lot of time in making sure the ingredients are all sourced properly, they're executed properly, all done to the traditions. There's nothing in it fake, all natural, no artificial additives, nothing at all. So it's going to be all natural sauces.
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive, but you're paying for better, right?
I think people subconsciously that, like food, really good food, the process that you do for all that stuff really matters.
Well,
they don't even see it, but
they're going to taste it and they're going to be confident. So
you make all the dessert, everything that goes in here is made.
Yeah, we make it all from scratch.
Yeah.
My based off my formulas, and I've got employees that flavor it up and come up with cool ideas. So now I've got like more brains thinking about flavors than just my own.
Right. And it's fun for them. You give them that creative freedom.
They get important. For sure. That's I was big on that, and you got to be careful with that too, because creative freedom shouldn't mean like control.
Right.
Right.
And that's where they think. So a lot of people think that their creative freedom that you gave them is the reason why you're still around, and that's the biggest mistake anybody could make, because no matter what happens, that's the absolute wrong thing.
Oh, that's literally what
who helps you move on and who doesn't. Deep down inside that there are some key employees that if they were to leave, it would affect you. That's a fact. I have them. Them. But I also know there's a lot of people out there who don't realize that if they do leave, for me, it's going to be a complete inconvenience. But you were never part of my business plan when I invested everything at the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't know your name. I didn't know who you were. I was just going on the fact that this position needs to be filled.
Yeah.
And you happen to fill it amazingly. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
You get a great job. You get great pay. I have a great employee. And that's kind of that. If you were to leave for any reason, whether it be an emergency or a car accident, God forbid, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd still have to move on without you.
But if you develop an arrogance, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right.
I'll forget. If you develop an arrogance to it, like some sort of entitlement towards, towards that, right, to try to make me believe that like my whole business is gonna just disappear or dissolve.
You're delusional
without you.
You're delusional.
Like,
they're delusional.
Dude,
they have no idea.
There's a mission that will, just like at SEAL Team 6 is like, dude, they lead us all to believe. We do believe that like you do need every man in that 6-man, 7-man team. It's crucial, right? But if one of them retires or one of them goes, it's still a machine and there's still a mission. Yeah. So it's like, it's gonna hurt for a minute, but it's gonna keep going. Like,
it hurts for a minute, but it doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
I can tell you this for all you listening too. You leaving, doing us dirty, fucking us over, or thinking that you're gonna pull one over on us when you leave, you're not doing anything more than we've already been through on our own, learning how to do this. We've lost so much trying to do this, lost money, time, everything. The only reason why we're successful is because of all the shit we've lost in the middle.
That's the self-validating entrepreneur thing.
And
exactly that.
You can think you are fucking us over as much as you want, but you are not screwing us over any more than what we've already been screwed over by ourselves. We screwed ourselves over more than you can do to us at some point in time in this journey.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're just another fucking speed bump if you want to be like that,
Yeah.
But again, don't be confused for the good, for the great team members who would be affected by losing them as people, as human beings, as their spark, as their their passion and all that stuff. Losing those people is crucial.
But the ones that end up being the wrong ones, I'm grateful for them too. Because I learned, dude.
It took me
fast.
years to get rid of them. It took me years to understand it. Just get rid of them because it's toxic, man.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse. And then they're going to be getting other people on their team. And it's just a mess. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing to do is get rid of them. No matter what happens, it's only going to suck for a minute, just like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Really, it is. Just get rid of
Band-Aid.
them.
But the process of doing that is what I really learned is like, dude, patience and staying calm and collective is like, that is where things from the team start to apply that make sense to me. They go, man, we're like, some of those moments feels like you're just have your face in the mud getting shot at and there's just bullets all around you. And if you just have some patience and stay calm and get through it, you're going to be good. It's like, if I just apply that same life and death mindset, it's like, dude, it gave me the patience to get through how hard it is to go through the process of, moving past the wrong ones and gradually getting it to where you have like 95% all awesome workers,
Better
which is starting to happen really fast.
So in
right
the
now.
last, we have about 5 minutes left. So let's go
Okay.
through kind of the, the struggles right now. Are there any of the things that, I mean,
Yeah, it
advice
really
or-
is that. It's like you get started with a certain staff, and I didn't know what I was doing, of course, and there's certain ones that are like, man, he doesn't know it, and it's all judgment. And it's like, yeah, I've never started a business before. Of course I don't know. It's like I want to go windmill dunk a basketball. It's gonna take me some time to get to that.
All right. You're not Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
Right out the
Not
gate.
yet. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, I'm grateful that this is happening so fast, because it's making me like I have to get good fast, or it's all gonna fail.
Yeah, and it's all on you.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that's okay. So I'm just gonna go through it and get good fast, and that's what we're doing. So I got this awesome new manager is like running the place when I'm not there. So it's like now I have less stress to go do this other bigger business model that's happening, and things just continue to improve if you just stay focused and not waste time in distractions and bullshit, in your life.
But I'm gonna say this with all that passion going into these quarts or these containers here, Ben and Jerry's, all them people, you better watch out.
That's right.
This is it right here. This is coming after you right here from Virginia Beach. Go ahead and tell us, plug where can they find you? Give us some, give everybody some way to find you.
Yeah, we have a
socials.
cafe because of the social because of the space design was pretty big for just an ice cream shop. So I kind of was like, man, this is kind of scary, but why don't we make it? The point was to make it an R&D center for this bigger thing happening. That was the actual goal. Hey, I need an R&D center, like a headquarters. Might as well take advantage of the space opportunity and make it a cafe, right? And then I don't know nothing about coffee, but we'll do a coffee house and try to do our best at that. And we got to bake stuff to go in the ice cream anyway, so maybe we do sort of a mini kind of bakery thing also, and so it kind of developed from there, and then it's been pretty successful locally. So we're right in Red Mill, Virginia Beach, over by like Home Depot and Target and Red Mill, in its own building next to Planet Fitness and Sandbridge Tattoo Shop, which is the best tattoo shop in Virginia Beach. my buddy,
Second best.
my buddy Tommy. Yeah,
We have our
my
friends
buddy's
too,
the
so we're
first,
like,
they can fight. Well, you guys
we'll
will
fight
fight.
over
them
the
duke
ice
it out.
cream and that.
Let
That's
them
We'll
cool.
live stream it on Instagram.
I love it.
Yeah, and
Yep.
where all the social media and website stuff.
Yeah, my personal Chris Fettes 6 on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. You can find a lot of the story and some of my different interviews and things going on in there. And then the ice cream is Be Free Craft altogether _ cafe. And that's really specific to the cafe. And as we develop this, we'll start to either do a separate one or just start to plug in some of the distribution, like product type stuff that Virtue's going to be helping me out with.
Perfect.
And he's awesome. And then the website is befreeicecream.com. So, I'll update that too as we move along. That one's more focused right now on just our day-to-day menu in the cafe and a bunch of merch, because we're really big on merch. So we're
Yeah,
gonna keep
the merch is
growing that, too.
badass. I've left my shirt over there too, but the merch is badass. But you can go on there and order that. You can't. The ice cream. Hopefully, people will start seeing
Yeah.
it when they see it.
with
coming
this
out.
group, the stuff that's happening, we for sure will do e-commerce with the pints too. So we'll be shipping ice cream. We gotta-
Okay. Soon.
great.
Okay, good.
that.
'Cause I
So-
know that's a lot of logistics, so you
Towards
got
the
to
end,
work
this
into
is not
that.
still towards probably like December, January of this year.
That's
at least.
awesome.
So yeah.
So we have
lot of things happening.
a Navy veteran, Navy SEAL veteran, American hero, ice cream
Ice cream
maker,
hero.
entrepreneur, just a straight up great guy, great conversation,
There we go.
total positivity coming out of you, man. The
That was
vibe
all
is
Jess with
amazing.
crop tops.
Yeah.
I can
Cute
tell why the
crop
ice
tops.
cream is so good and passionate, because you have it all in you, man. And this has been an awesome conversation, because just feeling, I can tell that you have the same passion as I do for what we do. And
Yeah,
it's just good to share that type of conversation, man. So
Yeah.
we wish you all the best and the luck, and maybe we'll be selling your ice cream in my market downtown Norfolk.
Now that I'm doing it this way, I apologize because you asked me to do a spumoni flavor when I was moving through my commercial kitchen experience, and I was like,
Yeah. That
hey,
was a year ago.
that's
yeah.
still in my head, so I'm gonna deliver on that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll
We're
have
trying to get him. I'm
ceviche
trying to get him to do a spumoni,
I like it.
a
That'll be
labeled
awesome.
spumoni flavor for me,
Personally.
personally.
Okay.
So
You
that,
might have to
Pistachio
share
and
it.
chocolate will be part of that. and
Yep.
We'll just do the
Yeah,
cherry.
you might have to
Yep.
share a little bit of it.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, but yeah, I'm so proud of you. I know I've seen you do this
Thank
from the
you.
very beginning, and
Yeah,
it's been
proud of you
pretty,
too.
pretty incredible. So
Yeah,
it's
an
exciting.
honor to be doing this in the Luce restaurant too.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Incredible.
Appreciate you.
I
Well,
mean,
thanks for your time.
we love it.
Keep on talking all day with this guy.
No, now we're just gonna eat some ice cream.
That's
so
it,
go
right.
check it out.
Check
spend
it out.
money. It's amazing.
Definitely
Trust
treat
us.
yourself. Get to the store. Get online. Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Peace.